Good afternoon, everyone. This is Robert T. Green, the CEO of Pre-Post Game, also known as the Players Rep, Educate, Empower, and Protect the Athletes and the Family's Best Interests Alone. Today is Tuesday, November the 4th, 2019, Monday, right before Tuesday, November the 5th, Election Day. To get the pleasantries out the way, for more information, you can check me out at the Players Rep 1 on Twitter, Players Rep on Instagram, Players Rep 1 on Instagram. Also, the Players Rep, follow that page here on Facebook. Also, check me out on LinkedIn at the Players Rep. For our company information, go to prepostgame.com. So, as I know, sports is not a game, sports is all business. Today's a passionate one. It might take a little while. So, again, if this video educates, empowers, protects you in any way, shape, or fashion, please like and share this video. We're going to hit a couple topics and not know so much specific order. But I got a quite long ride. I'm right now on the Jersey Turnpike. I just came from a meeting where I personally, effective immediately, resigned from two positions that I held, one in prestige, but also one in compensation. And I resigned from them positions effective immediately because of some of the direction, not necessarily of what the organization is going in, but some of the people that's inside the organization. As I tell everybody, you are who you surround yourself with. So, if you're going to tell someone that, then you got to hold yourself to the same standard and same accountability as for those which I try to, and my company tries to support and service. So, effective immediately, I've resigned from two positions. One, I'm extremely busy in a lot of different areas, but, the matter of fact is that when you see people doing things that literally is sending the wrong message or image, and then necessarily it comes back to who you are, and you have to address them, and that's not what the actual direction should be. You got to make a decision. Trust the facts, not the process. You are who you surround yourself with. Invest in yourself, not the industry. And essentially, that's what I did today. So with that, let's get right to it. So long story short, there's a young man named Jermaine Whitehead who has been released from the Cleveland Browns as of yesterday based off of a game where he had a rough game on the field. A multimillionaire at this point for playing in the National Football League for approximately 3 to 4 years, decided to take to Twitter to respond to fans and criticisms of the media, and essentially threatened to kill, threatened to do harm, berate, threatened to make racial epithets towards people that were speaking his name. This is one of the main topics that I try to discuss with athletes at the earliest level, and to families that's watching their kids or their young kids at one point, soon to be young men, addressed unfairly by the media at large, as well as the people who can't do what you can do, what they can do. And for that reason, I talk about that they don't matter. For those people that like to label multi-millionaire athletes as at the age of 21 years old, the term bust, you got to realize what that really means in society today. Like, yes, a person that's 21 years old has now achieved and accomplished goals and dreams that they set out to do for years. To finally see that, to only have someone who has a free Twitter account that basically that might not even have the name that they portray to be, and to address me or my family member as someone that's a failure in life. And if I allow that to basically make me feel one way or the other, or to respond in kind, not only am I doing myself an injustice, but now I'm giving someone who don't matter relevance. Trust the facts, not the process. So athletes, families, when it comes to social media, specifically Twitter, where they have these rails where you can't basically delete these people, they can say whatever they want, how they want, let them talk. This young man is now out of a job making almost $500,000 a year based off an analyst who happened to be once a former pro player or college player, as well as social media people or fans or people in there that now got you what you want. You basically unemployed like the majority of them when they talk about it. Now, for me, people always want to say, they call me the Tin Man sometimes. They don't think I put a lot of concern into what other people say about what they do, and absolutely I don't, for that exact reason. If I'm saying something, I'm doing something, and I'm doing it in terms of likes and follows, or in terms of I'm going to basically jeopardize, and as you guys see in this post, my self-preservation for someone else's validation of me, I'm sadly mistaken to understand what life really is supposed to be about. You didn't go to school, you didn't go to college, you didn't get up and put that work in to do how things you want to do, only to have someone who don't contribute to nothing that you do. They don't basically get a dollar, they don't pay your bills, they don't sign your checks, turn around and let you get to the point where you're so angry and so mad and so upset that you now make personal threats, cost yourself a job, and not only a job, but you cost yourself an opportunity in life. You address people who, again, at the end of the day, as a culture, as a whole, not individually, in a term that necessarily isn't endearing to them, and they don't deserve that. So in no ways or means are we condoning what Jermaine Whitehead has said. However, at the end of the day, Jermaine Whitehead, if he felt that way, there's been a way better ways and opportunities to express his frustrations without going to Twitter. Because once again, if he thought Twitter is going to validate his response, or someone's going to side with him, or someone even to care about what he feels and thinks, then again, we have failed him going way back to when he attended the University of Auburn. Trust the facts, not the process. So I'm going to leave Jermaine Whitehead there. You guys check. Once again, long story short, the message is, don't worry about what people say about on Twitter. Don't on Twitter to get responses from people. Many people out here who aren't educated, who aren't in this business, that think the things that Antonio Brown, that essentially cost himself $40 million in guarantees, was justified because they thought that Instagram followings and Twitter followings, no matter if it's 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, is going to basically make up for the money and the opportunities that cost them in the National Football League. That's why those people are not in this business. That's why they don't have an opinion in this matter that counts. And you guys should be smarter than that from day 1, 2, and 3. The fact that Antonio Brown did what he did and then essentially now is essentially asking the NFL, please give me my job back. And then after he attacked the people that literally, his employers that has employed him, that has a system in place where they actually rehire new employees every year, that shows you how uneducated and unprepared at the professional level that Antonio Brown is. This is not a slight on Antonio Brown, the person directly, but this is a slight on the system that basically is set up to present and to project and actually put guys in situations to turn into Antonio Brown. Yes, those same coaches, those same universities right now, that same NCAA that says that they like the collegiate model the way it is, when you're essentially making money off the backs of other people. I don't want to go get too political, but at the end of the day, when people talk about the next election coming up, there's a coach named Nick Saban in 2016 in the state of Alabama who told the world, including his team, he didn't know there was an election the next day, but yet we want to believe that garbage. The fact is that in this country, we're talking about free trade and free enterprise, with people who want to fight for capitalism, and everybody that has a basically want to keep that model going, they don't seem to have that same thought process when it comes to the actual athlete that's generating trillions of dollars across the board at a collegiate level, with only 1% of those actual athletes going to basically have an opportunity to go to the National Football League. So before you guys start talking their free education garbage again, at the end of the day, financial aid goes to a low-income family's homes. You don't have to play a sport to actually go obtain a free education. Financial aid actually belongs to them regardless of the fact. The fact that these schools, universities, other shoe companies are paying these universities millions and billions of dollars for these athletes with no names that they keep on helmets so you don't know who they are, take all these financial and injury risks to not go to the National Football League, the NBA, to essentially say like, hey, you know, it's okay, but you guys get an education, but you can't actually show that the chances that they're taking and the sacrifices that they're making warrants them getting a degree that's worth anything in this life. Now, even for those, again, going back to this education, let's talk about 2019. When we were growing up, they talked about going to school and taking math classes or taking algebra or whatever you may want to be. That was great. But in 2019, these same people who basically spend most of their time, these athletes or these fans, on Twitter or things such as Instagram, but yet they don't know how to do what the Control Alt Delete button does for your actual laptop on your computer. So in today's world, when you're talking about things that such as STEM or jobs that's automated, that's taken away from people in general, if you don't have the thought process, the life skills, the understanding of what the world actually going towards, if you spend approximately 15 to 16 years playing a sport that only generating revenue for someone named coach in university X, Y, and Z, and industry B, E, and D, and have a company called the Worldwide Leader, only to have that process repeat, to actually put you in the same process as your counterparts and no progress whatsoever, that is the definition of insanity. Trust the facts, not the process. Pre-Postgame has the only digital database sports business academy in the world, where essentially we talk about the ultimate sports dictionary, helping athletes and families understand the words that they need to know and understand as they take on this journey to become professional athletes. Acronyms such as CFP versus FA. Acronyms such as what is a ADV pertaining in the financial world. Things such as FINRA, broker check, disclosure. The list goes on and on and on. mentor versus runner. All these different things these kids encounter day to day, but there's no one in this industry that's actually preparing them for that, because at the end of the day, everything that these people tell them is predicated on how it's going to affect those other people's bottom line. You can't expect yourself to be successful. You can't expect to get to where you want to be, where everything you do is actually to benefit someone else's bottom line, not your own. Trust the facts, not the process. So based off this digital database system we're talking about, we focus on things such as mental health training, social media understanding, how to build your brand, how people in this industry look at you to go do certain things a certain way, only to one day have yourself sitting back wondering what happened before it's all over. Sports and entertainment is one and the same, people. This industry was built off basically the longer you go, the older you get, the less you know, the better off the industry is, the worse off you're going to be. I don't need to go in the list over and over and over, but there's a reason why people talk about how athletes want to be entertainers and entertainers want to be athletes. It's because they're comfortable in the same skin. The difference is I was once a sports and entertainment company myself, but the problem is that when it came to entertainment, to be honest with you, it was too much alcohol, too much drugs, too much lack of direction, too much false pretenses and false promises of telling these people that they basically can do this and do that and sacrifice this and sacrifice that. That's person's going to get them to the top of the charts and be able to get where they needed to be. But the fact of the matter, if you read that contract and you've seen terms such as perpetuity, you've seen terms that's talking about advance fees, and then when it's all said and done, the athlete, the entertainer has projected or did all these different things that put money in pockets of all these different people, but then they don't got nothing to show for themselves. They don't have a transition succession plan in place. None of these things. But everybody's okay with that. But not everybody's okay with that. Everybody that's in the industry to make money off of the entertainment, whether it's the athlete or the entertainer, is okay with it. We are not over here. So many are called, a few are chosen. But like I said, a problem without an answer is called history. His story. I mean, we could talk about this all day long, but at the same time, we're trying to give you answers to the test, and it's up to you if you're going to take it or not. And so with these fans that continue to understand fan bases, as my company goes, and this goes into line when it comes to recruiting, for the coaches that continue to ignore and universities ignore the fact. So when this young man basically was attacked by these fans, he responded that way and he lost his job. There was a fan last week, I guess last name Sessions, that threatened Ronnie Bell for the University of Michigan. Did he lose his job because he dropped the football? I'm not saying it's right either way. It should have never happened. But people, you got to understand, sports is not a game. Sports is all business. You got to stop caring about what they think about you, to do your job the best of your ability and move on with your life. However, if you really want to basically hold these people accountable, you got one or two things you can do. One, when it comes to the professional athlete and it comes to some of these media people, things of that nature, talks amongst your peers. You guys don't have to go on certain TV shows or certain news story radios to go basically put your information out there. That's what technology allows you to do. Invest in yourself, not the industry. Create your own social media platform, whether it's through YouTube, and put out your own message. And then amongst those guys that continue to do things that's adverse to the support of what your actual career is, shut them down. They only get to be on because of the likes and the follows of basically the information you give them. They only become relevant if they say your name and you respond to them. So that's just the fact of the matter and the way the whole thing works. So when it goes back to these fan bases that say, oh, that's not many of us, he don't speak for many of us, it don't matter. You guys are just responsible. If I'm going to a Power 5 conference, and now if you talk about Justin Fields, who has left Georgia, who's now at Ohio State, you fans keep talking. You think Justin Fields is the only player that's going to basically leave a school based off not only the fan bases, but the lies that the coaches tell through the recruiting process? You're sadly mistaken. I can tell you right now, my company specializes in that. Not about pointing things out, but also help you understand what goes into the decision-making process. If you're a fan base that literally the kid can play really hard and he loses the game, you want to threaten to talk about him, that's fine, you do that. See how many more 4 or 5 stars of recruits you go. You can keep saying phrases such as those that will stay to be champions and haven't won since 1997, and it's now 2019. But you don't hold yourself accountable for that. But you keep putting it up there for the next 16 and 19-year-old to believe it. Lies. That don't pay these kids bills. That don't make them sleep well at night. Again, it's all business. So the fact of the matter is, young athletes, at the end of the day, understand what you're getting yourself into. If you want to be a professional athlete, you want to go ahead and achieve a lot of great things, understand a lot of people is not going to be in it to see you succeed and achieve. They want to see you fall. I'm not saying it's right, but at the same time, if you can achieve something that many have not, will never achieve, and the only thing you got to do is recognize that you're blessed and you go about your business and do what you got to do. You know, when it comes to this business, the people in the media or the companies that want to work with you, it's called headline risk. You can't afford it. And so when people talk about how these guys, grown men, and they this and they this and that, once again, why don't you start looking at your coach, how they operate? I don't see you guys holding the same coach accountable when he throws his tirade. I don't see the same people going so hard or basically got something to say, keeping that same energy when that coach, part of my friends, calls his kid a pussy. So if his kids are calling a kid a pussy and he ain't this and he not that, then you're saying, oh, this world society is soft. But then that same kid turns around and calls that coach a pussy because he never played the game in his life. And the only time he made money off the back of what these actual athletes do, then all of a sudden he's wrong for that. Okay. That's your opinion. The fact of the matter is, not been a coach yet that's going to win a game without great players. Players make the coaches great, not the other way around, people. You can keep telling yourself the lies all you want to tell them. It's a fact of the matter that the schools like such as Alabama and Clemson and Ohio State and Georgia have continued. So we do the same song and dance pony every year. As a matter of fact, when you're talking about guys like Kirk Herbstreit that keep saying the same thing over and over and over. Oh, Dabo doesn't want to basically see players get paid. They got 6 kids on their roster that are legacy kids. None of those kids should be on scholarship. They should be facing the same charges as the lady who's facing 50 years in jail for bribery from Full House. The same charges. Sorry, Kirk Herbstreit, your kids aren't the best 100 on Clemson roster that should be on scholarship. Sorry, Brent Venables, your 2 kids aren't the best 100 of players that should be on the actual roster. Sorry, Dabo, your 2 kids aren't the best players who should be on scholarship on that roster. Just the facts, not the process. So, circle that all up, put it up in a bow and a tie. What the NCAA wants to do from the Pay-for-Play Act, and it goes back to the lack of intelligence and understanding that people really have when it comes to these things. So one, why does the government want to see players get paid? Well, essentially, the bottom line, yes, it's good that they understand the fact that the athlete's been taken advantage of for so long, for so many years, and in a free market society, without the athlete, this business model, this actual revenue stream would cease to exist in all different areas. It's not just playing the game. There's ticket sales, there's marketing, there's revenue, there's TV advertising, there's vending, there's the people that's actually at the actual vendors, there's the coaches, there's the referees. The list goes on and on and on. There's Vegas. They have a betting line now on ESPN on these same college kids who they don't want to make money. So the NCAA says, great, you know what? We want you to be able to validate or make revenue compensation of your likeness and image, not money. So essentially, for my likeness and image to generate millions and billions for you, NCAA says, hey, Madden, you can give this kid a video game. Hey, Nike, you can give this kid a shoes and Nike duffel bag. Hey, water bottle company, you can get this kid a water bottle and put his name and face on it. Hey, such and such, you can get his kid a pillow with his name on it. And essentially, they give you that bag, and then that bag is going to be a value of about $5,000. And the problem is that value of that actual gift bag is now going to be taxed by the United States government. So not only do you not get the actual money, but now you're going to be taxed on something that essentially could have been given to you. The NCAA does not value you, don't want you to value yourself to know that, again, without you, there is no them. So let me tell you how this is going to work. You can call me Miss Cleo, you can call me whatever you want. Because some reason the NCAA and Mark Emmert and his cronies still believe that they can control what the athletes do. If you guys don't understand, go back and Google the Missouri situation in 2016 football team. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. It don't even take it don't take guys like Tua, it don't take guys like Trevor Lawrence. It takes the guys from any small division 2-1, 1AA team. At the end of the day, if I'm going to be Zion Williamson, you say I'm the only one that can basically benefit my likeness and image. Cam Reddish and RJ Barrett can say, you know what, that's not right. I don't believe that. So you know what? We're not playing today, Coach K. Point blank, period, end of story. It takes one game. And I can tell you right now, you're looking at the face of the man, the company, that will advise players to invest in themselves, not the industry. And if there's an opportunity to secure revenue long term, based off their name, image, likeness, able to play a sport long term in a short-lived career with contracts that aren't guaranteed, we will be the first to advise them and to continue to advise as we already have. to protect yourself pertaining to bowl games because the insurance that's not being provided by the exact university that's getting billions of dollars. That's right, people. Check into this. You got your sons going out there putting their bodies on the line, their future earnings on the line. The same school do not want to pay for the insurance to cover them for playing in those bowl games. But yet, at the end of the day, you want to preach family. You want to preach team. There's not a coach in America that's basically sacrificing his salary for something that goes on with one of these actual athletes. Zero. Trust the facts, not the process. So the NCAA, your proposal, what you want to do, what I say is alternative methods. There's groups such as the HBL that's coming out pertaining to basketball that's going to provide actual education, real education, as I said before. Going to school for 19 years to learn about algebra and math when you don't know how to turn on your laptop to get that same exact answer about that math equation in a matter of 3 seconds is ignorant at best. So the education that you think that the NCAA is giving these athletes is minimal at best. And at the end of the day, when these guys leave these schools, they're not capable or qualified to actually adjust mentally, emotionally, financially, or situationally how society is set up. There's universities right now that had kids there for 5 years with their degrees, and they still back on their team's roster as GA coaches, intern, going into the years 2 and 3. Essentially, they've been there for 7 years. Trust the facts, not the process. Why people like Pro Football Focus not keeping track of stats and analytics like that? That's okay, you don't need to, we are. The passion, the belief, the understanding about what's going on, and that's why I talk about sports and entertainment is one and the same. Athletes, families, it's up to you. You gotta understand, all these things that go into this world of sports and business as a corporate American citizen, free capital trade, insurance, taxes, trust, life insurance, assets versus equity. This is the world that you're living in. And if you don't understand that, what's going to happen to you is you're going to have something going on like it is today with Under Armour when you get audited. And the U.S. government come take everything you got and call garnishing your wages. But I know and understand you trying to say, Robert T., what you talking about? My agent never talked to me about that. That's exactly right. He never talked to you about that. Why is that? Because if you understood what you're going to have to pay to be who you are, not only physically, financially, and emotionally, then you won't be quick to give it up for something when somebody is not actually what they're worth and what they claim to be. Okay, my name is Robert T. Green. I'm the CEO, pre-post game, here to educate and empower, protect the athletes and family best interests alone. You guys be well, be blessed. Tomorrow, November the 5th, since Nick said we don't like to know these dates, it's the day you can vote. So I encourage you guys to go out there, speak your voice, truth to power. You be well. Check us out at pre-post game, and God bless and have a good day.